Hey my beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Lorraine and I'm back again with another video for you guys. So if this is your first time, welcome aboard. On this channel we talk about any and everything self-therapy. So if you are not ready to do the work on yourself, this may not be the channel for you. However, if you are, let's get into the video. Alright, so guys, I know I think you guys are probably tired of me by this, where I have been every so often I go on a hiatus, guys. Don't mind the plane. I live next to the airport, for those of you who don't know, so sometimes you might hear a little bit of background noise, so sorry about that. But it won't let me be great, but whatever. First, before I get into the video, I just wanted to say this. I know I have not posted for probably over a month, but every so often, guys, I normally go on a social media hiatus where I just kind of like take some time for myself. That is no YouTube, no Instagram, no Facebook, no nothing. Especially if I am experiencing a difficult time, like, you know, if I'm going through a rough patch in my life. I know that people say, oh, you have to push through. I do that in my everyday life, but the things that I can take a step from, I do that. So just to recharge, guys, sometimes you have to do that for your mental health, and I kind of went through that recently, so hence why I was not posting. I also had some issues. I had to get a new laptop, which I did, so your girl is up and running again. But I just wanted to say to my subscribers, you know, if you see me go missing for a little bit, I'm not gone for good. Just know that your girl might be going through something. I need to take care of her mental health and her emotional stability. So that's where I'm at with that. So I'm not gone, man. I'm still here. All right, guys. But anyway, with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So guys, today I'm sure you know what we're gonna talk about. I have you see the title, but really and truly I wanted to go more into depth about it because I know that the title might be a little bit vague, but when I say stuck in the past or stuck on past pain, I don't, of course that's not a literal statement to be stuck in the past, but mentally and emotionally, sometimes you go through some things in the past that might hurt, or sometimes it might not be something painful, but it could just be it was a happy time for you in the past and now it's not so great and you miss that. It's almost like you can't get over it. You're stuck in that pain. You constantly replay this in your mind. What that does, it kind of somewhat enables you from living in the present. So I wanted to put myself out there a little bit. I'm definitely one of those people. Some people will call it that you live in regret. Some people, I don't know, they have other ways of describing this. Whatever you want to call it. This channel is all about being real, and I wanted to bring it to you raw. So as you guys know, I'm a person that I'm very big on doing the work, for analyzing yourself and just doing what needs to be done to create change if change is needed, right? It's a constant thing that you have to do. And one thing that I've learned about myself is that I let a lot of what happened in my past, or some of the experiences I had in my past, still influence my decisions now, right? And it's not to say that, oh, that's such a bad thing, but the reality is it could be good or bad, depending on what that thing is or how much that influence what you're doing now. Could be negative, right? We know this. It's almost like you're stagnant, and there are some areas, it's not every area of my life, but I realize that there are some areas I am holding on to the past. Man, that was a hard realization that I had to come to, but I did. And something happened to me recently that kind of like knocked me upside the head to say, yo, this is what's happening. So you may not realize it, but you take a look into what you're doing and to see if you're that type of person. If you're anything like me that is allowing your past experience to kind of somewhat control or negatively influence your present, hence your future, right? So I wanted to touch base on some of the things that you could look at in order to recognize or identify if you are one of those people, if you're anything like me. Right? So one of the things is, do you find yourself constantly reminiscing about something that happened long time ago? This has been sometimes years. It doesn't have to be years, but I'm just saying, if you really think about it, sometimes years, but for some reason that thought, it could be somebody that you dated in the past, it could be something that happened with you and your family, or a friend that you had, or a job that you had, and you keep saying to yourself, I remember. It's almost nostalgic, where you keep saying, you know, I wish I would have this again, I wish this would happen again, rather than saying, you know what, I'm here for a reason. Let me make the best of where I'm at. Or if I don't like where I am, let me work on getting myself out of this to get into a better place. You know, but rather than doing that, you're saying, I wish I could go back to where I was. It sounds familiar, guys? Next thing is, number 2 is you find yourself, and this is what I'm guilty of. Something that I did in my past, which I'm not. Maybe one day you have to wait for my book to hear what that is. But anyway, but like I was saying, for me personally, there's something that happened in my past that I did not handle. I don't like the way that I handled it. This happened probably over 15-20 years now. I thought I was over this thing, but what I realized was that I was literally holding myself hostage for this mistake that I made. I didn't like the way I handled the situation, and because of the way I did it, somebody ended up getting hurt, or people ended up getting hurt, like in a huge way. And I carried that around with me for almost 20 years, I would say. Recently something happened that I literally came to the realization that I needed to forgive myself for this thing. I didn't realize it, I didn't think of it that way. I felt like I wanted forgiveness from the person that I hurt. But I learned that I was the only person, well, it appears that I'm the only person that's carrying this thing around. Like, everybody been forgotten about it and moved on, but I was stuck. And I realized that some decisions that I've made in the past was influenced by that thing. So I'm letting this one thing control what I do, or influence what I do, when it really shouldn't. Make sense? All right. The next thing is number 3. I don't even know if I was counting before. Don't judge me, guys. Y'all already know what it is. But the third thing is holding on to grudges. Do you have bitterness towards anybody for maybe somebody did something to you, wronged you in the past, whether it's a family member, a friend, somebody betrayed you, whatever that is, or somebody didn't handle something the way that you expected them to, and that hurt you, that had a huge impact on you in a negative way. What I find that a lot of people, this is one of the big ones, a lot of people hold on to these things. But this is where the misconception come in, where people feel like you would never forgive a person for hurting you. And people don't understand that forgiveness is not so much for the other person, but more so for you, to free yourself from that cage. Because literally you're putting yourself in prison, in a mental and an emotional prison, while that other person moves on, right? Especially a lot of the times, things that could feel like a betrayal was not intentional. So a person's not carrying that guilt or holding, because in their mind, they did not do anything intentionally to hurt you. Based on what you feel, it impacted you in such a negative way that you decided, I'm mad at this person, I'm not gonna let go. You hold this grudge for years. For what? Why would you have this up? Like, move on. And I'm not trying to be a hypocrite, but the situation I mentioned before where you're not forgiving yourself, which is what I experienced, where I was feeling guilty and I felt regret about the way I handled a situation in the past versus somebody else doing something to me. There was a point where I did experience that when things happened to me as a child, I was not emotionally mature enough to just understand some things and just to move on from it. So that followed me for a little bit. So I kind of lost out on majority of my 20s holding on to this pain and this hurt, and thinking that by me just not forgiving these people or forgiving the person that hurt me, I'm holding them accountable. You know, little did I know the consequences of that is I'm holding myself hostage. Lesson learned though, lesson learned. It's easier said than done though, I would say that. But the sooner you realize that you can't control what somebody else does, you can control what you do. And it's just freeing yourself and moving on from what happened. Let them deal with what they'll get their karma if necessary. And likewise, if you're the person that did the wrong, you get your karma in due time. And hopefully something that you learn from. But yeah, next thing that will help you to identify if you are experiencing this is that, do you find yourself holding on to items from the past? Example could be something from a past relationship that you find hard letting go of. You're no longer with this person, but yet still something they might have given you or something that reminds you of this person. It could be, I don't know, anything. Do you find it hard to let go of these things, to get rid of these things? That is one sign that could tell you that you're still holding on to the past, right? And your wish for what used to be. Now, this next one is, I can tell you that a lot of people today are experiencing this, whether they want to admit it, yes or no, is that those same traumatic experiences that you've gone through or somebody wronged you, it's not so much that you are trying to hold a grudge against that person, against the person per se, but more so you relive that in your mind, that traumatic experience. And one of the things that I have learned is that you keep giving something life when you keep replaying it in your mind, right? So let's say, for instance, something happened. You remember how it made you feel. You keep replaying that one thing in your head. If you really think about it, we keep putting ourselves into this place of hurt constantly by holding on to that pain, by holding on to remember what that traumatic experience was like. You remember the tears, you remember the shock, you remember something hurtful that somebody said to you, and you keep replaying that one thing in your mind, and it keeps you in that spot, keeps you in that circus. Every time you remember what the person said, it hurts your feeling all over again, and you're stuck in that moment. Are you guilty of that? I know I was, and I know I have been in the past. Lord knows I may be in the future, because I am a work in progress, right? Just because I'm sitting here talking to you guys and acting like I know does not make me perfect. I am dealing with these things, and I'm just bold enough to come and talk about it. And just by speaking about it with you guys, I'm also slowly healing myself from these things, right? So that's one way you can tell if you are still holding on to past hurt and past pain. The next thing I wanted to touch base is that, are you terrified of change? Now, you know what? Let me take that back a little bit. I wouldn't say it just depends on what kind of change. This could just be my personality, and or learned behavior as a, I don't know. But I know that I like to be, I don't like using the word being in control of things. But like most people, I like to be in the know. And in reality, you won't always get all the answers, right? And change, let's say for instance, moving to a different place, just the thought process of, I know I want to move, but what if I move and it's not what I like? And I know a lot of people are like this, so somewhat I would say change terrifies me. So guys, are you? Perfect example. I can tell you there was a point where you may have struggled and you did not necessarily have financial freedom or financial stability. But what you find yourself is you hold on to certain things because you're so scared of going back to what was. So you're living in the past, the mindset, not trusting that the new things that you've learned to get you here now, you can also use those same things to keep you there, right? It's kind of like I call the poor man mentality type of thing. Because you're so stuck in what your past used to be, it kind of takes away from you living in the present moment, so you don't get to experience a lot of things. It's, now you can actually buy the things that you want, but rather than treating yourself sometimes, I'm not saying live carelessly, but treating yourself or do certain things for yourself now that you can afford to do it, you're still stuck in that mindset of, I don't want to spend, so you'll save all the money and it will just sit there in the bank doing nothing. Where's my camera like this? You get paid, you work more, you don't go out, you don't treat yourself to something that you like, you're so scared because what you're holding on to the funds because you're so scared of being broke again. That's one example where you keep comparing the past to the future and it's taking away from you living in the present, right? And then the present is going to become the past and then you're going to regret that because, oh my God, I missed out and yeah, and yada, yada, all of it. All of the 9 yards, right? Guys, please do not mind that plane. Plane don't want me to be great. Don't know why, but yeah. Next up is, guys, you find that you don't have plans for the future. You're very complacent and you're just trying to keep your head above water and just survive. That's it. You're completely complacent. Could be wrong. That's, me. Whenever I bring up something and I'm not 100% sure about it, I always put it out there, guys. You can always drop a comment below if you feel. Open up my thought process to a new perspective. So I'm open to that, guys. This is where you chime in and we communicate and we learn together. As it is right now, I do believe that when a person is just simply complacent in where they are and there's no urgency or no urge to actually want more for their life, I don't understand that. I really don't. But again, I'm open to learning more and just trying to get a little bit more understanding. So if you know anybody like that, or you have a better understanding, a better perspective on that specific thing, drop a comment below and let me know what your thoughts are on it. But yeah, so these are for people that don't have no plans for the future. It's like there's no optimism for they're not optimistic about anything in the future. It's just, I'm here now, I'm surviving, and I'm good where I am. Right? So that's also, I think, could have a little bit of being terrified of change. I don't know, could be wrong. Let me know. And last but not least, guys, somebody with possibly a low self-esteem. Sometimes low self-esteem also stems from what you have in your mind. What do you think about yourself? What are your beliefs of yourself? Can you do it? Do you want more? Do you feel like you can actually achieve those things. And some of that is stemming from maybe what that seed that was planted in your mindset from a child, right? From the past. Something happened in your past that triggered how you are living today. Right? That's triggering how you're currently living today, and what is your thought process regarding your future. These are people that just go with the flow. If the wind goes left, they go left. If the wind goes right, they go right. And there is no real effort into pushing forward. And that's just because something that happened in the past is influencing what they do right now in a negative way. That's another way that you guys can actually tell if you are somewhat stuck in the past. Well, guys, there you have it. That's all I have for you for this video. I just want to say this, guys, it doesn't make you less if you are experiencing these things. I am also one of those people who is currently going through going through some of those things, and is trying to maneuver my way on how to start moving forward, right? One of the things I will say, and this is also, I'm going to start incorporating this more, because a part of what happened when I was on my hiatus from social media is I was spending more time with God. And when you spend more time with God and you start praying more and just start feeding your spirit more, you start learning that you get more discernment and clarity on some things that you may not have understanding to. And I can tell you, it kind of gives me a sense of peace, right? Some of the things that you play in your mind that constantly is, you keep hitting that wound of, something happened to you, keep thinking about it, you play it in your head, and every time you think about it, you feel that pain all over again. It's like it's hard for you to make that first step to get out of that, right? And one thing I've learned is my God never fails me. Never, ever, 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 ever fails me. I get a sense of peace. And I will continue to do that because it works for me. Change comes from within. There's internal change and there's external change. And sometimes you don't have control over external changes. What you can change is how you react to those things. That requires changing something in your mind, something in your soul, in your emotions. It depends on how you approach the situation, how you look at that situation. So I just wanted to say, guys, it doesn't make you less. We are all a work in progress, and you must see the benefits of making these changes, if any, and the necessity in doing so. Not because somebody else wants you to do it, but because you see it. And if you are a believer like I am, I can't do it on my own. So I leverage my God. I leverage Jesus Christ. I reach out to him in prayer and ask for help, because the Bible tells you that a man's heart is naturally wicked. That's just who we are, right? And there's so many things that influence what we do in this world, on this planet, right? So what better way than to leverage his strength? So that's what I do, and he never fails me. Never fails. It's not always on my timing, but I can tell you that I have a sense of peace and some sense of power in what I do. I'm so motivated when I just take a step back and bask in the word and just understanding the plans that God has for my life is what helps me. So guys, with that being said, I hope I made some sense here today and I made some kind of positive influence or impact on somebody that's watching me. But as always, just remember, God loves you, guys, and he's there for all of us. So utilize him as needed. But anyway, guys, with that being said, I am going to love you guys and leave you. I hope that you like this video. Please make sure that you leave me a thumbs up. This is how you show your support, by subscribing to my channel, turning on your post notification bell so whenever I post new content, you guys are notified first. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let me hear what your thoughts are and anything that I spoke about today. And again, this is a learning lesson for me as well, so I'm open to hearing things or seeing things from a different perspective. So guys, drop a comment down below to interact. With that being said though, thank you so much for watching and see you on my next video. Love you guys. Bye.